Chicago, 2011. A cop is murdered. Police and prosecutors swear they have the trigger man. He swears he didn't do it. How far will each side go to prove they're right?
Like it's just one bombshell after another, where you're like, what?
The story of a PlayStation, a brain-eating amoeba, and the relentless pursuit of justice. Off Duty, out now. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Pepsi Prebiotic Cola in original and cherry vanilla. That Pepsi taste you love, with no artificial sweeteners, only 30 calories, just 5 grams of sugar, and 3 grams of prebiotic fiber. That great Pepsi taste with even more to love. Pepsi Prebiotic Cola. Unbelievably Pepsi.
Let's be completely honest. Are you happy with your job? The fact is, a huge number of people can't say yes to that. Too many of us are stuck in a job we've outgrown or one we never really wanted in the first place. But we stick it out and we give reasons like, what if the next move is worse? And I've put years into this place. And maybe the most common one, isn't everyone miserable at work? But there's a difference between reasons for staying and excuses for not leaving. It's time to get unstuck. It's time for Strawberry.me. They match you with a certified career coach who helps you get from where you are to where you want to be, either at your existing job or by helping you find a new one. Your coach helps clarify your goals, creates a plan, and keeps you accountable along the way. Go to strawberry.me/career and get 50% off your first coaching session. That's strawberry.me/career.
Hello and welcome back to the Psych Legal Pop Podcast. This is a podcast where we talk about popular culture from the lens of an attorney and therapist. I'm the therapist, Tess Brigham.
And I'm the attorney, Brooke Brigham.
All right, so we are back with Sister Wives, our rewind rewatch. This is season 2, episodes 2 and 3. Now, you may be thinking, wait, what happened?
What about episode 1?
Well, what about episode? So episode 1 was of season 2 is them on the Today Show.
Today Show.
It's another from a million years ago. And then also we are going to be covering the 11-day honeymoon.
Yes, next week.
And we have a very special guest for that. So we're very excited. So you definitely want to tune in next week for the 11-day honeymoon. But today we just don't want to skip a beat. So we are going to move on and go to season 2, episodes 2 and 3. And I have to say, when I sat down to watch this episode, I was thinking to myself, oh God, I mean, what are we going to talk about? There's so much that's been talked about. Are we literally beating this dead horse of a show? And then I'm 5 minutes into it and I'm like, no, it's so good.
There's always something.
So good.
Always something
There's
happening.
always there. I thought, oh God, they're going to this Wyoming ranch. Who cares? And you're just like, no, it's chock full of good stuff.
Well, look, 10 years ago, this was a boring episode.
Oh yeah.
But that's the beauty of being able to go back and watch all these old episodes, knowing what we know now. Mm-hmm. Because I look at everything through the lens of what we know about this family now. So it's just, that's what makes it interesting and fun. Otherwise, this would be a boring episode.
Yes. Well, it's a little bit like I started watching Vanderpump Rules again, and it's solely because of the scandal that's happened. You don't follow the show. I'm not going to get into it. But that show, which was so stupid, is now you're studying it.
Yeah, they're dissecting it.
What does this mean? What does that mean?
Clues.
Oh, that look, and honestly, this is what makes these reality shows pretty interesting.
Yeah.
So, all right. So here we are. This one episode is Free Range Browns. And, they are, of course, now we're in the second season. They've gone public. So they talk about how, they've got cameramen in their, at their house. They've got media outlets reaching out to them. And the most serious thing is the Lehigh Police Department announced they were investigating the family. And so do you know much about this? Or obviously, because we live in the state of California, polygamy doesn't come up at all. But
yeah,
I'm just kind of curious. do you feel like when someone says someone's investigating something, that just means they're looking at it? They're not doing anything else.
Right.
There's no arrests. There's no nothing.
It's just the police are looking into it because they are violating laws. And I think the laws that were on the books at the time, they weren't like, they don't call it polygamy. They call it cohabitating, and it's a way to get around, because because the polygamists would claim, well, this is part of our religion, freedom of religion, so they call them cohabitating laws to make it's the same. They're trying to stop the same behavior. But yeah, I should go back and I should look into like what exactly came of this investigation. So it's just the police. I don't know. What is there to investigate? Who are they interviewing? You know, I don't know who they're interviewing, who they're talking to. They're not talking to the family. And then they just turn, if they want to, they turn a report in to the district attorney, and the district attorney can decide if any crimes have been committed and then charge them. They were never charged with anything.
Yeah. So that's what I want. One of my big questions has always been, especially when we get farther in and we watch some other episodes where they're quote unquote fleeing the state of Utah, where how were they really in danger? Were they really that close? Or was it Cody? Just because Cody, as we've talked about, is a very impulsive person.
Yeah.
And does not think things through. And he is quote unquote the head of the household. So I would love to ask Janelle or Christine, like, tell me the truth. Like how scared were you, or was he making you more scared?
Yeah, I think, I need to look into the timeline of this, of what exactly was happening. When they left, had the police already finished their investigation, turned it over? Was the DA looking at it? What was the state of things? Because I've heard different things. I mean, Cody loves to move too. One time they counted how many times they had moved, and it was like 17 times or something.
Wow.
So they moved a lot when they were first married, and back and forth between Montana and Utah and all over, because a lot of it I think had to do with money problems. So they Cody likes to move, but I also heard something that it had something to do with being able to continue producing the show because of something about child labor laws or
interesting.
I've heard that. Yeah. I need to do an investigation into all this stuff. So who really knows? I think Cody just likes drama.
And that's
attention.
what I've always wondered. And
he wanted to keep the show going,
Yes.
so he didn't want to put it in jeopardy. If they get in legal trouble, the show's over.
Yeah.
So maybe he was trying to get away before that could happen, before he could ruin, tarnish the show or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. So
A lot of possibilities.
yeah. But I'm curious. Because I would see how Christine could get worked up into a tizzy about, oh God, we got to go. But I was really, Janelle seemed just as worried and concerned. But I do wonder if Janelle ever stopped him and said, what are we doing? Nothing's happened yet, Well,
wasn't Christine saying Christine was saying she didn't want to go. I feel like Cody was the only one who thought that this was urgent, honestly.
Yeah.
No, I don't. Christine, because remember there was a scene where Christine was they was on the couch and Christine was saying, I'm going to go with you, but I don't agree with this.
Yeah. Yeah. Ugh, that's head of household. So things are rough. So they're going to go to Wyoming because that's where Cody's family has a ranch that's been in their family for 5 generations. And my favorite part was when Cody said they're going there to paint a house, help a cattle drive, go on vacation.
Oh, yeah. Sounds like a vacation.
That sounds like a fun vacation.
He said, but it'll be like a vacation because it's different than what they're used to doing.
Yeah.
It's like, no, nice try.
Yes. Brooke and I once were told, remember when we went up to our Aunt Paula's ranch?
Oh, yeah.
Our mother was like, we're going to take you on a vacation up to this ranch in Washington. And I was just like, you got to be kidding me. This is not a vacation. There was nothing vacation-y about
There's nothing to do except chores around the ranch. Yeah.
There was nothing to do. I think we went into Olympia one day. We went to a few places, but it was like, I felt for Billy Crystal in that one moment of City Slickers.
Yeah,
it's a very old reference for people, but
we did get to ride horses, which was, but that's only, you can only do that so many times.
So when someone invites you to their farm for a cattle drive, it's not a vacation.
No,
it's not a vacation.
Going on vacation would be like going to a resort in, Jackson Hole, Wyoming, or
that's where I really want to go there.
Someplace Tony and fancy and bougie.
That's where I would go.
Yeah.
Okay. So the kids love the freedom. And then, but of course, Janelle has to work.
Yes. She's got to stay one more day and work. And this is they mention how every summer Logan and Hunter go to the ranch. Mm-hmm. And I wonder, they claim that they love it. And Logan did seem to really enjoy it.
I do think that they both really enjoyed it. I mean, I think it's work. I think they do work hard, but I think that honestly, I think for Logan, it's probably a break.
It's a break from being a parent figure.
Yeah.
I mean, because Logan was on the horse. He was leading everybody. He seemed like he was in charge, and he knew more than Cody and knew what he was doing and knew how to ride a horse really well. And it was like, this is your only chance to get away. This is a vacation for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
yes. This is the best, was like, you start to see, this is typical Brown getting ready to go anywhere.
Oh, yeah.
And Mary is packed and ready to go. She's got, literally they were there for 4 days, less than 4 days. They were probably on the ranch 2.5 days and driving for 5 of it, whatever. And she had, did you see how many bags that woman had?
I don't remember.
Like 5 bags. Oh. I'm not even joking.
Yeah, I'm sure they were there less than a week.
Oh, no, it was less than a week. Yeah. They show you the timeline. And then McKelty's like, I haven't even packed yet.
Oh, my God.
And Christine's like, we're leaving in a half hour. She's like, oh.
Wow. I know poor Logan. He was so frustrated because he was ready to go. And he was one of the drivers because Cody and Janelle were staying behind till the next day. And he's saying, this should be an 8-hour trip, but now it's going to be a 12, 14, 16-hour trip.
They said this all before they got on the road.
Yeah.
Little did they know.
He knew.
But the other thing was that but they left at 6:00 at night. Like they wanted to leave.
They
want
to drive all night.
I don't understand. And they said this is
like a red eye,
an 8-hour drive. And I'm thinking to myself, so how are they doing this? Like, what is supposed to happen here? And then, but we, they start driving up the mountain, and Robin's car starts making a noise.
I love this.
And the front of the car just started smoking, and they had to pull over, which means everybody in these, they had 2 cars.
Oh, probably more than that. I think Christine was driving, Logan was driving, Robin was driving. So
Logan wasn't. I thought I saw Logan in a thing.
To take all those people, you'd need at least 3 cars and all their stuff.
Yeah.
But this really annoyed me so badly because Robin's car doesn't just break down. Well, first of all, the engine starts smoking, and they're lucky it didn't catch on fire because there was no oil in it and no radiator fluid. So she basically burned up her engine. And it's like, I'm sorry. Look, even when I was a teenager, I knew you had to, check your oil, change your oil, like basic things. Cody doesn't make sure that these cars are maintained.
Yeah. Well, he makes a comment before they leave. He says, "Ooh, I don't like that rattly sound on your engine."
But
then bye-bye.
Well, yeah, but he's not. That's, what? I'm sorry. This is one of these things that as the man of the house.
Yeah.
Come on. I'm all for women's independence, and I do this stuff myself. But, I'm sorry that just irked me that he would let the car get to that point and that it wasn't safe to drive, and it almost blew up, and
it almost hurt your children. You had a lot of kids in that car.
God, that just incensed me. And so they got stuck. They were only 1 hour from their house when this happened, and they were stuck for 3 hours. They had to get a rental van, which I'm sure TLC had to pay for.
Yeah. Well, but I can't imagine. I mean, so I guess Christine had to go back in her car. I get the sense that the car was Christine's because Cody was talking to Christine about it, not Robin.
Well, but Christine has that Suburban, and the car that broke down that Robin was driving, I think was it was either like more like a minivan.
Okay, then that is Robin's car. So yeah, her minivan.
Her minivan. Remember, she had that when she moved there. Or maybe it was the Suburban. I don't know. But anyway, then Cody has to go to the shop.
Oh, yeah. This is the next day. Cody goes to Rogers Automotive on his motorcycle.
It's $5,163.69 to fix the motor. The motor is shot.
Oof. And that's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money. The car's probably only worth about $8,000.
I mean, I can't imagine, like, for you or I right now, $5,000 I wouldn't be thrilled, but I could pay it. But for them, that's like, God, that's a tremendous amount of money.
Well, yeah, I don't
to not care for the car.
That just incenses me. Yeah, when you have all these kids in the car, I mean, it's like, what a dope he is. Just what? I'm so angry.
So then we see them the next day at 9 a.m. And I'm like, wait a second, at a rest stop in Wyoming. And this is when Cody calls Christine about the car and tells her, you know, it's almost going to be over 5,000 for this. And they're at this rest stop. And I'm thinking to myself, so they must have driven like another hour, then got in a hotel, slept, spent the night. Then they go for another hour or so. And then they have to stop at this Red Canyon for pictures. What? But they still have like 6 hours to go.
I don't remember this part.
Yeah, because Robin was a little annoyed. That was a big thing. Because apparently they always stop at Red Canyon to take pictures. And Robin was annoyed by it and kind of like, why in God's name are we stopping to take these photos?
Is that where she said, let's do a Y for Wyoming? Everybody make a Y.
Yes.
And Mary's like, it starts with a W, not a Y. And Robin's like, oh.
I don't know. I could have seen myself making the same mistake. How stupid it is. So we learned that Cody and Janelle hung back because Hunter had football practice. So those three were going up there. And then Cody talks to us about how he grew up in the Mormon church. So we learn a lot. And I think, you know, it's so funny because when you think about the show and we know so much information and we read the book and blah, 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 you're like, oh God, we know this information already. But this is sort of the first time it's being revealed to the public audience of what the real background is. And so, but his mom, so this is what I have this issue with. So he says, I grew up as a Mormon, but his mom was really adopted the polygamous faith and that she was the driver to push the family in this direction. Now, real quick, they showed an old photo of Cody. Doesn't he look just like Hunter? I thought that was Hunter for a moment. I'm like, why is Hunter? Anyway. So his claim is the matriarchs, the women of the family, were the driving force of this faith.
Because Mary's mom, it was the same with Mary's mom. Mary's mom brought up the idea to Mary's dad, and they moved from California to Utah. So she was also the driving force.
But this, and I don't think that this lifestyle is all negatives. I do think that there are some positives, but it does not seem like, I'm just trying to understand these women, like this is really what you want to do. It's not even about sharing your husband. It's just about like, your kids are going to have less time with him. Like everything's going to get divided. Financially, it's going to be hard, you know?
In my opinion, I think this is a cult. And I think that this just happens to be the rules of this cult. And I think that if it wasn't this, it would be something else that they would fall into, these women. You know what I mean? They go join some other cult. I think it's more, it's more the mentality than it is having anything to do with sharing your husband and having sister wives and all that other stuff. Because I'm sorry, I don't see any positives in this. You know, even with maybe sort of with the childcare situation and having someone to help you. But I just think the negatives far outweigh whatever positive benefit that is. Because you know what? You know who ultimately gets hurt in all this? The children.
Yeah, they do.
It's not a good way to grow up. If these are grown women, if they want to choose to live like this, that's fine. But look at all of the brown kids now. They don't even speak to Cody. They're so angry.
Yeah.
The only one who speaks to him is McKelty and the kids that he lives with because they have to talk to him and they've been brainwashed. Yeah. Because their mother is the most, I think, culty of all the wives. But anyway, that's just my opinion.
Well, no, you're maybe right. I mean, the one thing that I do think I see as a positive is I see Janelle's situation and I see how, wow, she's been able to have a career and have kids. I mean, you know, I only have one child because of many reasons, but one is the financial piece. Like we wanted to be able to, if we needed to pay for something serious, we always wanted to have money. And also because of career stuff, right? Like I wanted to get back to work. I wanted to refocus on the things that I wanted to focus on.
But
And so
could have done that.
I do wonder, it's like, oh, wow, what would life be like if I had 4 or 5 kids?
If Janelle really wanted to have that many kids, she could have found a husband and they both would have worked, and they both, just like every other family in America.
All right. I guess you're right.
And every other middle class family who, both parents work and the kids, you hopefully live near family or community who can help you raise your kids. And then if you have several kids, the kids help raise each other. I mean, that's America. You don't need to have a bunch of sister wives to do that.
I guess that's true. All right.
God,
All right.
Tess, I'm worried about you. I'm worried you're going to join the cult now.
Oh, no, please. First off, I'm way past baby making age, so I'm not very desirable. And I have a husband who can barely handle me, so who would never ever think about doing anything like this.
Okay, well, yeah, I have just going back to...
Oh, and I have a son who who is so happy to be an only child. The idea, even if we brought in a stray into our house, like he would not even want that, So
yeah, it's too late.
Yeah. The ship has sailed for me.
Okay.
All right. So now we finally see that the first...
Well, they finally get there. I want to say this. It took them 3 days to get there. 3 days. So I have that written here because it's a very important point because of the car, leaving late, the car stuff, the whatever, 3 days to get there. It's an 8-hour drive.
So I guess for this 8-hour drive, because when I think about 8-hour drive, I think about like going down to LA or San Diego from here, right? And you do that in one day. You get up early, you drive down there, you do it. And so when I saw the Hunter and Janelle and Cody, I was like, oh, they'll drive straight through, right? Won't they? But I think they spent the night too, because the first group got there an hour before the second group.
And they left a day earlier.
Yes.
Wow. Yeah, they must have. They must have stayed the night somewhere. Because it looked like they left after school or after football practice or whatever.
Yeah. So, but what I don't understand is why are none of these people coordinating it so that they can all leave at the same time right in the morning, and then you could be there that night.
Right.
And
you can train your kids to travel.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you don't have to stop a million times. You do have to stop because, people have to go to the bathroom and, sometimes kids get cranky or whatever, but you can train your kids to be good travelers and give them stuff to do, whatever. I don't understand these people's problem. They have such a problem with traveling.
yeah. Because we'll see it over.
They can't
and
even
over
and they can't not even maintain their cars.
So we meet Wynn, who's 75 and retired. He's Cody's dad. And then we meet Grandma Janelle, and we meet Grandma Cheryl, and Grandma Janelle. So one of the comments that I think it was Cody that made this about how, right, like now that they've gone public, it's a lot for them to travel and take camera crew and all of that kind of stuff to this ranch. And it very much opens them up for criticism and being looked at. And so he basically saying, I'm outing my parents. I'm outing their life and their lifestyles.
Yeah.
But when you were watching Wynn hug all those kids, I'm like, I bet you $1 million he does not.
He doesn't know their names.
He's just like, oh, hi you. Okay,
like,
you're one of them.
Okay, oh, hi.
I don't think he had any idea.
He doesn't.
He knows who Logan is, and Hunter, but I don't think he knows who anyone else is.
He looked a little out of it.
He did.
And it was the first time he'd met Robin's kids, so he's probably really like, well, who are these guys?
And why is Aurora calling me grandpa? I don't even know who she is.
So there's actually 3 wives. We've never seen the third wife.
Yes.
She does not want to be filmed. We've never seen her.
Yes.
And so, of course, Grandma Janelle, or Janelle, is Cody's mom, and then Grandma Cheryl is Janelle's mom.
Yes, we get into that little issue. Also, the other thing is Cody kisses his mom on the lips. I think there's something really weird about that. Like, people who, like, at some age, you stop kissing your parents on the lips, don't you?
I don't think I've ever kissed my parents on the lips at any age.
Yeah, but I feel like when I was little and my son was little, we might kiss on the lips or something like that. But we've gotten to this age now where well, he's taller than me. So he hugs me and pats my back like I'm a weird stranger. But I just find that odd when people have that kind of relationship. That's why I could never have joined that Keith Raniere cult, because they all had to kiss each other on the lips all the time. All the time.
Why?
Yeah. That was just, listen, talk about cults. Right?
Yeah, I know. Oh, and then there's a passing scene where Cody says, "Oh, this is my cousin Samuel." Was that the guy? Because the one that we talked about, who he's now a comedian.
Yeah, well, you're the one that I didn't watch. You told me about that. You watched the interview.
Well, yeah, he was on a podcast. He was the one who talked about growing up and basically being trafficked like a child worker, like a what do you call it? Child labor trafficking. Working in the bakery on the ranch.
Is that who? So yeah,
I kind of thought that might be him, because he looked like he was a teenager.
Oh,
he looked younger.
Felt like he had a B name.
Oh, Ben Brown.
Yes.
Okay.
So he was someone else.
Samuel. Whoops. Sorry, I was trying to look it up and then my sound came on. Anyway, never mind. I thought that was him. It's not him.
So yes. So they tell us again what they're doing. They're painting Grandma Janelle's house, and Cheryl is excited for Robin to come into the family. And then because this is where we get Cheryl and Janelle on the couch. And Janelle tells us that famous story about how each wife is a spoke in the wheel. And the more spokes in the wheel, the stronger the wheel. But every time a new wife comes in, all the spokes need to move and shift, and it becomes stronger. Now, I'm just kind of perplexed by this, because I don't understand why, if you keep adding spokes, is that really going to make your wheel stronger? I keep trying to understand this thing, because basically then you're also saying that if you only have one spoke, the wheel can't move at all. So one wife is not moving.
You know what? I think you're taking this a little too literally.
Right, we can cut this part. I'll cut this part out.
But I mean,
I'm really like, okay, let me think about this.
It's
for a while.
bullshit answer. It's just something they say to justify what they're doing.
Yes, I guess that's true. Okay.
Yeah. So they talk about how Cheryl and Wynn fell in love and got married 3 months before Cody and Janelle got married. And then they said Cheryl took care of Wynn and Janelle took care of kids.
And I thought that hands down was one of the saddest things I'd ever heard, because in the way in which she said it, right? She talks about this later on, where if you imagine, here's Janelle, she's bebopping along. I don't know where the third wife comes in.
She's hiding somewhere. Yeah,
but I mean, is she the third or is she the second?
I think she's the second, and then Cheryl was the third.
And Cheryl was the third.
Yeah.
So here you are, Janelle, and this new woman comes in, and you're still taking care of a bunch of kids, and this new woman shows up and she's taking care of Wynn, and it's a little bit of like, oh yeah, I bet she is taking care of Wynn. Like, it's all of a sudden, it's just like, you're just a mom now, you're over here. Right. Don't pay attention. Because you don't get any of the good stuff.
Yeah, Cheryl's kids were grown. I guess. Did Janelle still have young kids? Because Cody would have been, like early 20s. Cody and
there
Janelle,
must have still been kids there.
Younger kids, I guess. Teenagers, probably.
But, it was hard at first, but they're best friends now. But yeah, this is what Janelle says. She says, it was hard because when Cheryl came in, she was beautiful. She was very jealous of her. She was beautiful. She was educated. She was vibrant. And
because she lived in the real world.
Yeah. And she was a nurse. She was this educated nurse who came in, and, then your spoke is being pushed off to the side there a little bit. Yeah. And I don't know. And I just feel like, God, they're really rewriting some history here. Because I feel like...
Yeah. And, God, this is one of the worst. The worst thing that happened to Janelle and Cheryl was meeting this family. Just think of how far these women could have gone.
I guess that's true.
They're both like smart, accomplishment. Why did they fall into this?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
So then we meet Tim Beck. He's the brother-in-law. So we don't ever meet. So that must be Cody's sister's husband, but we don't meet her. And, he's telling everyone about what they're going to do. They're going to move the cattle over to get vaccinated, which I think is fascinating.
Yeah, they vaccinate the cattle, but
not themselves,
not
Cody Brown.
for COVID.
And then Janelle and Cheryl have to stay back, and they're making dinner for the ranch hands. And that was just like watching that go. I was like, oh God, how many baked potatoes do you make?
I know.
It just seems like a lot of work.
And they just live in this really small house. Where did everybody sleep?
Well, they talked about that.
Did
So
they go
Christine and Mary got hotel rooms. Robin wanted to stay so that she could spend time with Cody's mom.
Oh.
And then Janelle, of course, stayed because that's her mom, right? So I bet you that Robin and
maybe her mom
kids,
has her own house on the property.
Yes, because that was Janelle's house.
Okay.
So that was her house. So I think that Robin and her kids probably stayed with Janelle. Cheryl probably stayed with her mom.
Robin
and then everybody else stayed. And God knows where Cody stayed.
Where did Cody stay?
Probably with his two favorite women, his mom and Robin.
Probably. All right. Well, then what about then
now it's the McKelty story.
McKelty gets thrown off a horse and she milks it for
she really does
all the sympathy she can. And then Cody strangely gets angry with the horse and he says the horse needs to be taught that it can't be naughty. What kind of language is that? What kind
we should have called our Aunt Paula about this because I'm very curious about this. Is this what you do if a horse acts up? Well, again, I'd like to say,
maybe she just fell off. She fell off. She didn't get bucked off. Maybe she just fell off.
Yeah,
and of no fault of the horses.
Well, yeah, no, I don't think the horse should be blamed at all because. And again, as Madison liked to point out, she told her so like a million times that, and they were specifically told not to get on this horse for various reasons.
Okay, well.
So, I mean, again, it's a little bit of like, if this horse is so much trouble, then why is anybody letting this horse kind of roam out? Like, put the horse away. You've got all these kids that can easily get on the horse. So McKelty, of course, had to prove them wrong. McKelty goes and she, falls off the horse.
Yeah. And Cody's just using it as an opportunity to be all masculine and just, storm off on his horse to go. I don't know what he was going to do to this horse, but it was just dumb. And I guess they took her to some place in town.
A chiropractor. She had a huge, massive bruise on her back. But Cheryl was going to come look at it, but then they took her to they said they were going to take her to the hospital, and then she's back from the chiropractors. And
it's all very fishy.
I don't know. So, and then we get this scene of like Isabel asking Cheryl a bunch of questions, and you can tell Cheryl's like, just fucking shut up.
What was she asking her?
She was asking like, so you are married to my grandpa and Janelle's married to my grandpa. And
well, it is quite confusing.
It is confusing. And Cheryl was trying to be nice, but it's one of those things where Cheryl's like, God damn it. Okay, baked potatoes, chili.
I'm trying to cook here.
And Isabel's asking these big life questions like, where do you live? And she's just like, yeah, okay. Let me think.
It's too much activity.
It is. It's way too much activity there. And then, and the other thing is Cody gets on that horse and then Gwen starts walking up to him and he's just like screaming at her, like, get back. I was just like, okay.
Well, it is dangerous for these little kids to be walking behind horses and stuff.
But why didn't you take care of this shit earlier?
I know. Why are the kids roaming around horses? I mean, they should be away because that is very dangerous. And these kids can easily spook a horse and get kicked and get hurt very badly.
So then we see the scene of them with the cattle drive. And I thought it was very odd because they kept saying, well, the terrain is such that you can only ride a horse. But it seemed like there were a ton of people walking. Mm-hmm. Like, so they're walking off all of this terrain. I was just a little confused. But God, that seemed like a lot of work. Like, just you had to get... What I didn't understand is this. Why can't you bring all the stuff to where the cows are? Why do you have to go across this whole thing to get into... Because it wasn't like they were going to the center for vaccinations.
They had like these corrals kind of set up where, and then the cow comes into the corral and it holds... So they couldn't move those...
Corral? Because I was like thinking, like, how did the corral get there? It must be something you put on a fifth wheeler or whatever they call them, right?
Truck,
and so why not take that? Isn't it easier to take that trailer all the way up to the...
I have no idea.
That's what I kept thinking.
I'm not a cowgirl. I don't know. We really should have talked to Paula before we did
should have.
this. We should have. Yeah, our aunt had a horse ranch.
Yeah.
And had like 70 horses. So
And she still got a horse.
she would understand this.
This whole thing.
And then there's a funny scene where, all the kids are climbing these rocks and Robin is just flipping out like, oh, like don't go near the edge. And it like, she's just with her kids. She doesn't want her. And it's not like they're doing anything dangerous.
No, they're not.
Climbing rocks. And, everyone's just kind of being like, oh, God, Robin, calm down.
Yeah.
It's fine. There's older kids up here. They're watching your kids. But it was just a difference. Yeah. Like Robin is just not used to really letting her kids.
Well, I thought
do
Janelle
much.
made a very good point. And looking back, I wish because I only had one child, I was less focused on my kid. But she talked about like physical confidence with using your body. And I'm like, you're right that kids do need to like move around and be on a jungle gym and fall down and,
Right.
do some of these things.
Or they're
Obviously-
always going to be scared.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, and then we see Daddy Logan taking care of little Savannah. He's like, because little Savannah's like walking up there by herself, but she's like 5. And he's
Yeah.
like, okay, hi, sister. I'm like, God, I love him.
I love Logan.
Yeah, he is the best. So that was essentially day 2. Day 2 was painting the second coat of the house. And then day 3, everyone has to get back.
Yeah.
So it took the first group 3 days to get there, and they're only there for 3 days. And I understand, I'm sure they're, have stuff to do and places to go, but like, gosh,
Yeah.
it's not a lot.
Yeah, no, it was a quick trip.
Yeah.
Got to get back to work.
Yes. But anyway, so now we're on to episode 3, which is the price of polygamy. And I thought this was going to be kind of boring. And I was like, oh, this is good. We're getting into
we
the
got
money
some
stuff.
money. Yeah, some money details.
Some money details that we have not heard about before. Or if you've just been watching the shows. As opposed to being a fan.
Well, first, Cody and Janelle are going to go camping in Arches National Park for Janelle's birthday.
Thought it was their anniversary.
No, it's her birthday.
It's her birthday?
Well,
Okay.
that's what I wrote.
Birthday, anniversary. Those are the only
Whatever.
2 times
That's
that
the only 2
Janelle-
times you get Cody to yourself for more than a couple
it's
hours.
one of the 2 things.
So, yeah, and Janelle loves to camp.
But I thought that sleeping bag situation was like classic.
Yeah.
That was so classic, where there are all these sleeping bags and Cody's like, well, why aren't they rolled up? And she's like, well, they don't zip. And he's like, what? They don't zip? And he wants, well, we'll just buy 2 new sleeping bags.
Yeah.
She's like, no, we're not going to do that. She doesn't
Yeah.
want to spend the money.
They don't have the money to go buy 2 new sleeping bags. Again, impulsive. Like,
Yeah.
yeah. She's like, no, we'll just bring this and we'll bring a blanket and you'll be fine,
So, and she does mention that this is the constant friction in their marriage. Like this is the biggest friction that they have is this money stuff. And then we learn about how do you afford the size of a family? And then they get into that whole thing about Janelle talking about Robin.
Yeah, she brought up the finite resources again. She said, yeah, when Robin first moved there, she was looking for work, but she couldn't find any work.
Okay. And that's
apparently
like,
she never found any work.
yeah, she never found work.
And she said there was a little bit of an adjustment there because the finite resources have to go even further now.
So here's my question. Janelle did say, I know Robin was looking hard for work, but I don't know Robin's background. I don't know what her skills are, but I would assume that there's got to be something that she can do for part-time while her kids are in school. Like that's the part I didn't quite, I was like, there's nothing she can do? Nothing? Like there's not a job in the world?
How hard was she working?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think Robin, I don't think she really wanted to work.
No, I don't
But
think
then
so either.
there was this whole scene where she said that, that money is a tremendous value to the family, because they have so many expenses and so many people. And she was saying how she wanted to be worthwhile enough that the disruption in their family was worth it to them. Meaning if she could bring in money to the family, then this disruption was worth it. Cause like, okay, well, she's bringing in money,
Yeah.
And I thought that was really interesting because, she felt that way at the time, but after that, she didn't really seem to, other than trying to make my sister wife's closet into something.
Yeah.
You
Which
know?
they really started. I mean, yeah, it always felt like a half-hearted attempt. I mean, she never really, I
No.
mean, again, I think that if she had pounded the pavement, she could figure out how to get a job and do something and contribute. So now basically her contribution, which is not simple, or easy, is helping with the kids. Because poor Christine, I guess, was taking care of all of those kids.
And she was working
and pregnant.
and working
towards the
at
end.
night. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so finally, because she just had a baby, she's getting a break.
Yes.
Sort of. Not really. But yeah, the kids are going over to Robin's for what? A couple hours a day in the
Yes.
afternoon after school. I mean, come on.
So we learned that, so Cody's salary covers Robin and Christine, and sometimes Janelle will kick in some money for Robin and Christine.
For groceries.
Yeah. Mary doesn't make as much money, and so she has to cover some smaller bills. And she has small bills because she doesn't make much, because Janelle and Cody make the bulk of the money. They pay the mortgage and the utilities. And she talks about lots of stress involved. It takes, it's a lot. It's a lot on her and him. I'm dying to know. So then, okay, so that's Mary. So Mary's money is covered, then covers Leon. And then Janelle's paycheck has to cover all of the big bills, the mortgage and the utilities.
And her kids. And she has to
And kick money
in
over.
grocery money for Robin and Christine.
I mean, that's a lot.
That is a lot. None of this seems fair.
Yes.
It really doesn't. And why was it that, Christine had to work all of those years when she had 5 children and then pregnant with a 6th child? Why wasn't Robin kind of forced to get a job? It's like, if your sister wife's closet business isn't going to, well, a lot of it too had to do with the fact that once they became public, well, this is what they would say, and I think I've heard them say this, is that once they became public, they really couldn't just go out and get a job because a lot of employers probably wouldn't want that attention or want to be associated with the show. And that's why they started looking into businesses, when they went to Las Vegas trying to invest in a gym or this or that, whatever they were going to do.
We'll be finding about that soon.
Right. They thought that was the only way that they could make money.
Yeah.
They basically gave up on the concept of having a regular job because when they left Utah, none of them had like a regular job ever again.
Not even Janelle?
Mm-mm.
I guess not. Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
Because remember, she got a real estate license and, they had the show, but then she got her real estate license and then she started, they all started doing the MLM stuff.
Yeah. I guess they just didn't talk about it on the show so much.
Yeah.
But I guess that's when they must have picked up all of that stuff, which I understand. But again, I'd like to say that even if you, right, when you got to Vegas and it was all that chaos of everything going on, it's a little bit of like, you could get a job. Like there's so many things that someone can do. Like you can get a job from your home. You can get a job here. I truly don't, when people say, oh, I can't get a job, it's like, yeah, you can't get a job that you want to do that's going to work for you and your lifestyle.
Right.
But you can
always get a job.
Yeah. All right. And then we see, of course, we see Cody because he's, has a hard time leaving the house. Poor Janelle's waiting there for him. And then we see Christine shopping for groceries for the family. And I have to say, I would have liked to see a lot more of this.
I know.
Give me your tips, Christine, because I spend so much goddamn money at the store.
I want your grocery shopping tips. But although they wouldn't work for us, we don't have a big family. Because like when you go into that pantry, I wanted to get inside the pantry and I wanted to see like there were all these cans. They almost look like big cans of, almost look like baby formula.
Oh, I was going to say old coffee cans.
Yeah, they look like big coffee cans. And I was getting close up. I was pausing it. I could not see what it was, what it said on the label. But yeah, I mean, it was fascinating. Like, let's go inside the pantry and let's go shelf by shelf. And I want you to tell me, like, how much do you pay for this? And I thought that was a missed opportunity.
I would love to see Christine show us like I'm preparing dinner for everybody, everything, because I mean, the fact that she was able to, I don't know how long those $300 worth of groceries lasts, but that is pretty good. I mean, obviously
Yeah.
they're in Utah. It's cheaper stores than what we have out here. It's
Well, they're buying in bulk.
Umpteen years ago, and they're buying in bulk. But I am very curious, like, is that $300 for the month? Is that $300 for 2 weeks? What is that? I need to know.
Yeah. And Christine said, when she was talking about the food pantry and all that, she said that she was very worried about the financials. She says, we were struggling to keep a roof over our own heads, and then we bring in this person, Robin, and pay rent and groceries with no income coming in. I was worried. And I have Janelle says she is hopeful Robin will get a job. It's like, yeah. I mean, God. Yeah, what made Robin think that like everyone had to work but her?
I don't
this
know.
Pisses me off. All right.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I think she will use the excuse of the show, because when she came into the family, it was,
But all the rest of them kept working in some capacity. And they didn't talk. And even before like the plexus and stuff, Cody and I don't know if it was Cody and Christine or Cody and Mary, they were part of some kind of similar MLM with some like blue drink or a green drink or something. But you notice they never talked about it on the show. I think the show told them, you cannot talk about this. And when like Mary says, "Oh, I work for a clothing distribution company,"
I thought she
or
worked
something.
at a trophy shop.
Well, that was way back when. That was like back when they first got married. Or Janelle got her a job there.
Of course.
Because Janelle was working at like an employment agency.
Yeah.
And she got Cody a job. She got Mary a job at the trophy shop. She wants everyone to have jobs.
Yes.
But yeah.
with you, Janelle.
Yeah.
That's what we were told as kids. Get a job.
Yeah.
We're like Vicky Golden.
I know.
Go
to work, get a job.
Insurance.
I know. I've been working since I was 13.
So let's see. Robin's talking about, now we see a bunch of scenes of Robin with the kids, and she's picking up all the kids, and she's yelling at like Isabel, like, it should be a snack, not a meal.
Oh, I know.
Like,
She wants her grocery budget to last for herself. She doesn't want to feed these other kids.
So she was talking about how she used to work and take care of the bills, and now it's very awkward coming into the family. Just that same story, looking for a job. And then we get back to Cody and Janelle. They're putting up the tent. And they talk about how each relationship has its own bond. And then I thought this was interesting, where Janelle talks about this, and maybe is she the only one? She talks about how, she talks about how the children in these plural families, the children always think that their mom is the favorite. And she was going on this whole thing of like, because of the fact of the way in which you see, the husband is always, present. And I thought that was really interesting, just in light of everything that's going on now, because now we're seeing, it's like, no, because we're seeing all of Christine's kids, most of them, and turning to her saying, you're not the favorite
for a long
mom.
time now.
It's not like this was just this last year.
No.
And it was like way back then, everyone
Years
felt like
ago.
the favorite. I feel like pretty quickly, it became very clear. And so it was just like, really, Janelle?
Well, Janelle says a lot of stuff to defend Cody and to defend polygamy, because I think she knows where her bread is buttered.
I guess so.
Because she's the practical one. And she knows, like, we're on this show and they're paying us more money than we've ever had in our lives to be this happy polygamous family. And goddamn it, we've got to act like that. She does it all the time. She's kind of the cleanup person. Like, if you notice when they do their couch confessionals, she always steps in. If things start to go to a place where it's making polygamy look bad or making Cody look bad, she will jump in and she'll smooth things over and
look out for that.
Make a comment like that. She does it all the time. But at the end of this, in the camping trip, she made a comment. I wrote this down. She says that it would be fun to have a trailer someday.
Oh,
Like, well, just hang on, Janelle.
Your dream came true.
Yeah, I don't know where that trailer is now, but
yeah. So then we see Mary sewing, and that she's happy to have this lifestyle fits for her because she has a job, but she also gets to spend lots of time with Leon. Janelle's like, I get the best of both worlds. Life is great. And then we get into this whole Cody and Janelle PDA thing and what we learned about in the book, which was that when Janelle came into the picture, Mary and Cody were like all over themselves. So she would just remove herself.
Yeah.
And, so she's had to kind of learn how to, she stood aside and had to learn how to figure out how to be more loving towards Cody, more physically affectionate. Yeah. And then we see them at Balanced Rock. And I thought that place looked really cool. I'm like, so is this Utah? Is Arches national?
Yeah.
God, I'm really not an outdoorsy person. Never do these things. And then then we hear from Robin, which I thought, and so Robin gets into this whole thing about how this is a good lifestyle, because you have to deal with these basic raw human emotions of selfishness and possessiveness. This lifestyle, you have to step outside of that and look at what's best for the whole. You become a better person. I'm paraphrasing a little bit here, but
okay, Robin, you've been a polygamist for a year now.
Not even, I don't think.
Yeah. 9 months, 10 months, whatever. Okay, Robin.
But I guess you're right. I guess you're right. I mean, this cult part is right because she has been indoctrinated with these ideas and thoughts because what bothers me about this is what it's really saying is you have these feelings. You have these feelings of possessiveness, or you have feelings of jealousy or unhappiness or discontent. And you're being told you have all these feelings and those are bad feelings. Those are wrong feelings to have. And you need to figure out how to turn that into something where you see it for the greater good. And the thing is that we have no good or bad emotions. We just have the emotions that we have. And so there is this piece of like, we need our emotions and we need the quote unquote bad ones because they tell us that something's feel quite
wrong.
Right.
Yeah.
Like jealousy where someone's, texting you every 10 minutes and all that, like that kind of jealousy and possessiveness, that's not healthy. But feeling, sad or feeling ignored or feeling like your needs are being put aside, then that is important to talk about in a relationship. And it just sort of feels like they just tell the women, just push all that stuff aside, just be a better person.
A better person.
Yeah. A better person would push past this. And I think that's very dangerous.
It is. It's very convenient to tell people when they're hurting,
yes.
You need to just push through this because it'll make you a better person. And if you say no, that means what? You don't want to be a better person or you're a bad person. Yeah. So So what are your choices?
Yeah.
So they're stuck with never being able to really truly express how they really feel. Yeah. And the fact that Robin, who again, she was not, her first marriage was not polygamist, and she talks like such an expert. And it's like she's been brainwashed and she's just spewing out this rhetoric that she's been taught by her family. All
right. Well, tell us so that's the end of that. So of the episode there, we end with Robin.
All right.
So give us what's the latest gossip? What's been going on?
Okay. Well, I should have showed you this video before we started. I kind of want to play it on I don't know if it'll really translate. Okay. So toxicity, it keeps coming up in my feed, and somebody posted now. This is a video taken by Mykelti. Okay. So I don't know if the source is Mykelti or Mykelti sent it to somebody and then they shared it. Anyway, there is a video posted on there where Mykelti is at Cody and Robin's house. And this must have been maybe it was the same time when she came to film. And Avalon was, a baby. But Avalon looked a little bit older, like she was walking. She was starting to walk in this video. So I think it might have been a separate visit.
It had to have been because she was a little, she was wrapped up in a little
barely
baby.
Sitting up. Yeah. Okay. So Mykelti is basically and Gwen pretty much confirmed this on her YouTube this week, is that Mykelti's the only kid other than Robin's kids that he's not estranged from. He's estranged from everybody else.
Even Daddy Logan? He's estranged from Logan?
Well, that's kind of what she said.
That's surprising. That is really, really surprising. Okay.
She said a majority of Janelle's kids and a majority of my mom's kids. But then later in another clip, she basically said, well, yeah, kind of everybody but Mykelti. So anyway, Mykelti was there visiting. She's taking a video. They're in the living room. And she's obviously sitting, she's sitting on a couch and she's filming Ariella, who's kind of, it's someone's birthday. It's decorated with, it's a girl birthday thing. So I don't know if it was Ariella's birthday, Avalon's birthday. I don't know. And Ariella is kind of running around and Cody comes over with a couple of gift bags, and he's placing them in a pile of gift bags. And Ariella is kind of going, oh, what's that? And looking at it. And he's like, don't touch it. Don't touch it. And then he says, no touching and no talking.
Whoa.
Yeah. I mean, like,
I want to watch this video.
Really mean, in a really mean voice. And then he starts to walk away. And then Avalon kind of coos at him. And so he stops and he turns around. And he gets down on the floor for like 3 seconds to kind of engage with Avalon. And for just a second. And you can hear Mykelti's voice because she's telling Ariella, she's like, oh, Ariella, move over to the right a little bit because she's blocking the view of this thing she wants to film. And she's like, move over a little bit, honey. So it's her. And so then Cody's on the ground. All of a sudden you hear Robin yell from the kitchen, the water's boiling. And then Cody like jumps up, goes into the kitchen. And then a couple of minutes later, he yells, fuck. Like really loudly. And I listened to it a few times. I think it's fuck.
Really?
I mean, it's like, he's like, fuck. And he's kind of talking loud and Robin's talking, but you can't really hear what they're saying. But he says fuck really loudly.
All over boiled water?
Yeah.
Or maybe he burned himself. Okay, keep going.
They're kind of talking loudly, Robin and Cody. And then that's the end of the video.
Ooh.
It's real bizarre.
That's weird.
I'll show you.
That is bizarre.
I'll show you after the show. If anyone wants to look at it, just go on.
Yeah, I mean, that's so innocuous. So
yeah,
Mykelti had to have come on, released it. Like,
but maybe do you think she shared it with one of her siblings?
And the siblings
and a sibling leaked it?
Well, but then that means, oh God, then that puts Mykelti, I mean, I don't know. If you're Aspen, for example, and you get this video from Mykelti and you're estranged from your father, you're kind of effing up your relationship with your sister. I would be livid if I sent you something and then
I put it on the internet.
Yeah, I'd be like, well, I didn't tell you could do that.
I wonder, well, what about Tony? I'm sure Tony was with her.
Maybe it was Avalon.
Avalon.
Oh, you know what it was? It was Arielle.
Yes.
She was like, justice for Arielle.
Right. I know. I felt really badly for that girl, the way he taught.
I mean, obviously parents, we all have our bad moments in time, but you don't, especially at a birthday party, you're kind of, you're stressed, but you're in a good mood and you're happy and you're like, oh.
And Ariella wasn't doing anything remotely bad. She was literally just kind of trying to peek at the bag and, oh boy. So yeah, I think Cody is just a completely different person.
Yeah, he must be.
Off camera.
He must be. Or this is who he's become. Because, even when you see these old episodes and who he is today, you see, he was this very kind of wide-eyed, like, woo, by life and exciting. And I think he once was like, a big kid. I think this is just what fame and everything that's fame and love and all of these other things that have happened to him have done to him.
Yeah, I guess.
And I think he's an angry person. Probably pissed they have to move out of that really nice house.
Yeah. So, so I watched some of Gwen's reaction videos and she was watching the episode where, Robin gets sick with COVID and has to go to the hospital. And Gwen is very fixated on the fact that she's like, well, she's so sick, but she pulls out a camera. Like, who does that? Who pulls out a camera? Which is a very good point. And then she kept saying, well, they should have been And then there was a scene where I don't know if I think Robin or Cody said something about, God healing them or something about God and COVID. And Gwen says, well, yeah, it was definitely God that healed them because, the Sister Wives family is such a huge concern for God. I just love her. She's so funny. But yeah, she kept saying, well, probably because they're unvaccinated.
Yeah. That they had it so horribly.
Yeah, exactly. And then she was very sad when she saw, Gabe's video where he cried because Cody forgot his birthday.
Yes. To never forget October 11th.
God. Yeah, she just tells it like it is. She confirms everything that we think.
Yeah.
So there was some clips of McKelty talking on her, I guess it's her Patreon. And she was explaining why she moved in with Robin before Robin moved to be with the family. And she said it was because Robin's nanny at the time, this woman has always had nannies, but this nanny was one of her brothers.
Oh.
So she's recruiting family members. I remember she recruited her niece, Mindy,
yes.
who actually resurfaced this week too. But one of her brothers was acting as her nanny. And he had to move, and McKelty was struggling. She said not with her mom, but just with life, and she needed to get out. So I guess she wanted to go there and be there.
So she lived with Robin in that St. George house?
Yeah, I don't know for how long.
Huh. Interesting.
Yeah, because, none of those kids were going to, real school, I think. They're all being homeschooled. Quote unquote.
Yes.
Yeah. And then, a picture surfaced this week of Robin and Cody and Mindy and Saul and Ari at a basketball game. I don't know if it was a kids' basketball game. I don't know if it was Saul's or Ariella's, but Ariella, she's getting older. I barely recognized her. She's, growing up.
Mm-hmm. All right.
But that's about it.
That's good gossip.
A little bit of
that video is a good little snippet.
Yes. So if anyone's interested, just go to TikTok and just, look up the Toxicity account. It was probably one of the last videos posted. It's very interesting.
What if that account is really Robin and Cody?
Well,
or maybe it's Saul and Ariel.
Well, there was a video on the account of some guy. This all could be part of the joke or the spoof or whatever, but there was some guy who came on and he was saying, I'm really sorry, basically apologizing for making this account. And I don't know. I didn't really understand it, but every time I look at it, it's got a different angle. Yeah. It's always constantly changing. And for a while it was trying to say it was put there as just part of some social experiment. But then they started posting clips of stuff again. Then this guy comes on making this apology for basically trying to trick people. And now they got these juicy videos of, I don't know what's happening with it.
Huh. Interesting.
Or who it is. But anyway. I will keep
investigating.
I will
Brooke.
keep on it. Don't you worry.
Keep the investigation going.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're at the end of this. So if you like this podcast and you've made it to the very end, thank you very much. And if you like us, please subscribe and give us a 5-star review. Go to Apple and just fill that out. It really helps us out with the podcast. And I think that's it. If you have any ideas for things that we want to cover, we're going to continue to cover Sister Wives, but we're doing 2 shows a week. And that other, spot, we're always looking for new and interesting things to talk about.
We're going to get back into some more documentaries. And this on Thursday, if you're listening to this, whenever you're listening to this, in a couple days, we're going to have an episode about the Chris Rock Netflix special.
Selective outrage.
Also talking a little bit about, the Oscar fiasco from last year with Will Smith. So check that out if you're interested.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thanks so much. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Pepsi Prebiotic Cola in original and cherry vanilla. That Pepsi taste you love, with no artificial sweeteners, only 30 calories, just 5 grams of sugar, and 3 grams of prebiotic fiber. That great Pepsi taste with even more to love. Pepsi Prebiotic Cola. Unbelievably Pepsi.